They have just tried to bar President Trump from the Colorado ballot using an unconstitutional maneuver that is a bastardization of the 14th Amendment to our U.S. Constitution. This was a provision, Section 3, that was designed to bar Confederate members, people who switched to the Confederacy, from actually being able to serve. That's very different than what's at issue here, to say the least. This is a hollowed out husk of what the country was built on. The basic principle that we, the people, select our leadership, not the unelected elite class in the back of palace halls. That's old world Europe, not the United States. That's why I'm making a pledge today that I will withdraw, I pledge to withdraw from the Colorado GOP primary ballot unless and until Trump's name is restored. And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Chris Christie and Nikki Haley do the same thing, or else these Republicans are simply complicit in this unconstitutional attack on the way we conduct our constitutional republic. I refuse to be complicit in that. I think what they're doing is wrong, and I think it's up to Republicans to step up and stand up with a spine for our country's future. That's really what's at stake, whether we, the people, actually have a say in deciding who leads this country. Yes, it would be easier for other Republicans like me who are running in this race to say, hey, if Trump is sidelined, there's our opportunity. No doubt other candidates are probably privately celebrating with their corporate sponsors. That's not the right thing to do. I think the most useful thing that every GOP candidate can do right now is to join me in that pledge. I'll say that I will withdraw from that Colorado GOP primary ballot until Trump's name is restored. This belongs to the people, not to the unelected Democratic cabal of judges in Colorado or any other state. And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Chris Christie do the same thing, or else they're complicit in what this security state is trying to do to shut down Trump.
What's going on, everyone? It's also Ken here today. Just as you saw it in the intro, Vivek Ramaswamy has promised to take his name out of the Colorado state presidential ballot for the Republican primaries. No word from Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis if they're going to follow along suit. I doubt it, because this is politically expedient for them. And this is a real case where you see kind of both of the political establishments coming together over removing Donald Trump from the ballot. And I don't believe this is constitutional. I believe that these liberal judges are using half-baked legal theory, half-baked assumptions and instantiations to kind of back up this ruling. This is an unprecedented ruling, and I want to kind of highlight how I believe it's based on some fallacies here, right? But, liberals want to liberal, right? These people, the only thing, you only have one right of seeing the world one way, and it's usually their way, right? So here's the appeal, and I'm just going to read the last part, the more interesting part of the section, that a majority of the court holds that President Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Because he is disqualified, it will be a wrongful act under the election code for the Colorado Secretary of State to list him as a candidate on the presidential ballot. The court said the court states its ruling until January 4th, 2024, subject to any appealing proceedings. And I think what Vivek listed out is that this is just a stretch. This is hey, Trump got impeached for insurrection. Okay, name me an insurrection that happens without any weapons. January 6th is a riot. Sure, I'll give you that. It's a riot, right? But to sit here and think that it was a government takeover, an organized takeover, that's kind of stretching the truth there. This is the liberals' ability. And this is why I'm saying that the Democratic Party is ruled by sensitive people, or people who only care about power. The ends justify the means. Hey, I want Trump not to run for president anymore. Okay, what are the means in which I can achieve that goal? Hey, let's throw out this narrative. January 6th is an insurrection. Try to making sure that the American people will never forget that January 6th happened. But you want us to forget what happened in 2020 with BLM, and they were rioting, destroying property. BLM destroyed more property than any riot so far, even the January 6th one. But you want us to hold on to January 6th because it fits a narrative that you want. You want the common person, the common American, to remember January 6th. So when you pull this crap here and you say, hey, we're disqualifying him because of the insurrection, you want people to go, oh yeah, insurrection did happen under Trump. And then it makes sense that this has happened. This is what they want you to do. They already condition you. And this is why I said the mainstream media this is their real job. Condition you for a specific narrative. Then, based on that narrative, they do a ruling, and you believe that the ruling is just because of the narrative that you've been fed, regardless if it's true or not. This is the narrative, and this is the game that they were playing, right? So here's in the next clip, we're gonna hear from more on the liberal side and see how they will respond to people like me who said that this is a democracy, right? And you can't ban democracy to save democracy, because then it means you don't stand for nothing. It means you only stand for power. If democracy helps your power, you want democracy. If democracy hurts your power, then you don't want democracy. And this is the kind of perspective that a lot of these liberal journalists have. Let's take a look at this clip.
To the Republican candidate's argument that the voters should have the say and not the courts.
Why are you standing with Confederates who betrayed this country? And this is what they're standing with, is the spirit of those Confederates rather than the Americans who came together after a long and brutal civil war that was fought to keep the Union together, and clearly saw a threat in ex-Confederates running for office, so much so that they amended the Constitution to prevent those traitors from running for office. That should send a message that our election system, our electoral system, can be used for nefarious purposes against the democracy itself. It's clear. It's clear as day.
It's clear as day. This is a political stunt. This is a political weapon. This is a politicized attack. Like, that's as clear as day as I can see it, because Colorado is a majority Democratic state. All the judges there were nominated and elected and put into power, or appointed, by Democrats. How are you not seeing that? How this can be perceived as a biased, obscuration of what the law actually says, right? And let me ask you guys your opinion. Here's another tweet that I found that I kind of summarize what I think is going on. The opinion of the Colorado Supreme Court is shameful and runs completely counter to our constitutional system. It does. Because last time I checked, a lot of the Confederates were Democrats. This is why a lot of the Democrats want to take down these Confederate statues, because they want you to forget their history, the Democratic Party's history, as being as a part of the Confederate Party, right? The party that was defending slavery. They want you to forget all of that, right? The original insurrectionists, right? Now they're doing it legally now. They want you to not question the validity of this precedent, because at the end of the day, they just want Trump. They just want to disqualify Trump. And how is this protecting democracy? You creating a precedent where if another Trump comes into office, he can literally do the same thing to your candidates. But they don't care about that. This is how short-sighted a lot of Democrats and liberals tend to be. They don't see anything past their face. They just say, oh, we got what we wanted. And you got some people, Dan Crenshaw, for instance, he tweeted out that they should remove him out of other ballots as well. And many people say, oh, I bet you would like that too. And this is what I'm talking about. These people, they're not giving you information for your own good. They're giving you a narrative that's crafted because they want you in a certain box. They want to rule you. They think they know what's best for you, America. This is what they're showing you. I don't care what their reasons is. This is a stretch, a legal stretch. An insurrection. Okay, let's compare January 6th to the insurrection of the past that they're comparing him to. They're comparing what happened at January 6th to the Confederate Army and the war. Last time I checked, it was armed. Name me a January 6er that was armed. Most of the January 6ers, I would say, were peaceful. A minority of them caused trouble. A minority of them was damaging property, but they didn't damage as much property as BLM. The fiery but mostly peaceful protest, right? So January 6th is a riot, fine. But look at all the people who are getting prosecuted in January 6th. Many of them were peaceful. But, Democrats don't care about that narrative. They're like, oh, look, let's call it an insurrection and then go along with it. No, that's not how the legal system works. You have to prove your claim to be true. How can you call it an insurrection when nobody there was armed? It don't make sense to me. How can you call it an insurrection when you were notified of what was going on, chose to allow them to continue going in, so then you could play this little psyop that you're trying to do right here today to us Americans? These people here think you're stupid. Donald Trump was not removed from office by Congress for engaging in insurrection. True statement. Was he not? You put it to the Senate. The Senate said, no, this is a nothing burger. You're impeaching him for nothing. End of the day, he didn't get removed from office for it. So how can you claim that he is guilty of insurrection when you haven't even charged him with insurrection? And he hasn't even been found guilty of insurrection. You see how these people just run with a narrative and they just go? They do and then ask questions later. This is the Democratic playbook. Donald Trump has not been criminally convicted in court of law for engaging in insurrection. True. Whatever you believe of whether Donald Trump engaged in insurrection has no bearing on whether he's eligible to run for president. And this is what they're doing, right? They're going off of their assumptions. Oh, I believe he did, so therefore I'll remove him from the ballot in a Democratic stronghold called Colorado. This is politicized. This is a politicized attack. Boom, just proved it right here. Because Colorado, a majority of Democrats believe that he engaged in insurrection and therefore he shouldn't run for president. And they're a majority in Colorado, and then they decided to act on that belief. Is that legal? If I believe someone, let's say you're in a court of law and I'm the judge and I look at you, and because you're a black man, I perceive you as already guilty. Can I send you to jail because I believe you're guilty already without hearing the evidence, without hearing the facts? Even if the evidence and the facts said that you weren't there at the time of crime? I'm like, no, he a black man. He definitely did it. This is what the Democrats are doing to Trump. I tell you, Democrats are one of the most corrupt people in our political system. I'll give you that. Look, all you gotta do is look at the justice system. The justice system that black people complain about, Democrats are the main perpetrators of that. All you gotta do is look at Kamala Harris's career. Enough said. I digress. Let's continue. No legislative, executive, or judiciary body of state should engage in extra constitutional decision making to disqualify a federal candidate from the ballot. This isn't accountability. Sorry, it's an assault on due process of law, which it is. It undermines our electoral system and threatens every federal candidate for office. But these people think, oh no, it's never going to come back against me because the left is hubris like that. So let's look at some articles from the left. Donald Trump's banned from Colorado ballot in historic ruling by state Supreme Court. I don't know why. I feel like they're happy about this. Let's read a little bit into it. A divided Colorado Supreme Court on Tuesday declared former President Donald Trump ineligible for the White House under the U.S. Constitution insurrection clause and removed him from the state's presidential primary ballot, setting up a likely showdown in state's highest court to decide whether the front runner for the GOP nomination can remain in the race. The decision from the courts, whose justices were all appointed by Democratic governors, marked the first time in history that the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment has been used to disqualify a presidential candidate. Why it makes you so special? Why would you make a decision where many people, if you're an independent like I am, I'm a right-leaning independent, when we hear this statement, we'll say, hey, there's a probability that there's a high chance this is politicized. What grounds do you have? That means the level of the standard of proof is higher for Colorado to do that. Is it unquestioned that Donald Trump started insurrection? No, it's not. Oh, what's backing this ruling? Oh, because we're the majority. A majority of the court holds that Trump is disqualified from holding office under the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. The court ruled was 4-3. That's how close the decision was. The court stayed its decision until January 4th or until the U.S. Supreme Court rules on the case. Colorado officials said the issue must be settled by January 5th, the deadline for the state to print its presidential primary ballots. Now, to me, I think it's going to get overturned. I think this is going to get repealed because I think too many people are against this. But I just think the point is to make it harder for Trump to run. Drain Trump's pockets a little bit more. Wrap him up in legal battles. How is this not election interference? But I'm going to get called a conspiracy theory because I dare consider the possibility. When people call you a name or try to gaslight you or smear you or make fun of you because you're considering a possibility of something, it's usually because they don't want you to ponder on it enough, because then you might find evidence. Then you might find cause to believe your speculation. The only thing that separates a conspiracy theory from the truth is time. That's a quote from me. We do not reach these conclusions lightly. What makes you think I'm gonna believe that, liberal? You guys reach a lot of liberals are some of the worst people who are guilty of arriving to conclusions lightly. They're quick to believe into conclusions that fit into their worldview, but are slow to adopt ideas and truths that goes counter to their beliefs. All of you, I could name you countless examples. We are mindful of the magnitude and the weight of the questions now before us. We are likewise mindful of our solemn duty to apply the law without fear or favor. Your fear, it is with fear, and it is with favor that Donald Trump will win. That's why you're doing this. You don't want him to be the nominee, so you want to say, hey, we can make his job a little harder. You guys are acting like mafiosos out here, and without being swayed by public reaction to the decision that the new law mandates we've reached. Yeah, of course. These are what the people want. They say, hey, man, we're just going to make the decision and kick rocks because we have the power. And that's how liberals tend to act. Here's another article from a left-leaning news outlet. Trump lashes out after Colorado ballot removal. Banana Republic? Trump argues highest court in Colorado ruling his disqualified from being president again and that he should be removed from the ballot is election interference. Is it? A freaked out Donald Trump. I like how they add these words to frame his reaction. Donald Trump reacted to the news that he has been removed from the Colorado ballot after a court found him ineligible for presidency for allegedly engaging in an insurrection in connection to his attempt to overthrow the 2020 election. This is all framing from them when even the very speech that Trump was saying before the riot, go out peacefully. Why don't you guys show clips like that? No, they only want to show things that prove their narrative because they're not worried about, the media is not worried about telling people what's true. The media is worrying about massaging and conditioning a conclusion in your mind about how you should view these things. This is the truth about media. I always say it, and I'm going to say it again. The media is the most dangerous entity on this world. It can make the guilty innocent and the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. Because the job of the media is to control perception, not to provide truth. Truth is something that you as an individual is responsible for finding out for yourselves. I'm just telling you what I think. I'm showing you some different perspectives here, but at the end of the day, it's up to you what you guys think about this. You think Trump should be removed? Shouldn't be removed? Do you find it hypocritical by the Democratic Party, the liberals, the left, people who pretend to be defending democracy, is using authoritarian tactics for half-baked conclusions to justify eliminating a political opposition that they find distasteful? That they want to, they know they can't really beat Trump, so they rather disqualify Trump to make it easier for their people to win. Do you find that justifiable? Do you find that reasonable? Do you find that that's actually democracy? Or should the democracy is about letting the people decide, not people in power deciding for you who you're allowed to vote for and who you're not allowed to vote for? It's the same thing with censorship. What you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. What you're allowed to say is good. But if you're saying something that a liberal doesn't like, it's hate speech, right? And this is the same thing they're doing here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I would like to hear your guys' thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys for watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.